What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Vault. My name is Money, and today I am answering your questions. We are starting off the 2-year celebration of Money's Vault today, and I thought of no better way to do it than to answer the questions that you all asked me a few weeks ago. So basically what I did was I opened it up to you all over on Instagram as well as here on YouTube through my community tab and asked you to ask me whatever you want. And I'm going to answer as many questions as I possibly can so you guys can get to know me a little bit better. We have some questions about my personal life, about my collecting journey, about the pops in my collection. It's a whole bunch of great stuff. So the first question we have is from Dark Dan 115, who asks me, best Dorito flavor? Nacho cheese. I'm not a Cool Ranch boy. I'm sorry if that's a deal breaker, but I don't like blue Doritos. Dom's Pops asks me one pop that I'll never sell. That's a really good question, Dom. Give me 1 second to figure it out. One pop I'll never sell is my Sex Bomb 3-pack from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Now, I had a full Scott Pilgrim vs. the World set about a month ago. I had everything up to Kim Pine from Emerald City Comic Con. And then the longer that I collected this set, I realized that I was kind of just keeping it at 100% for the sake of keeping it at 100%. It's a frustrating set to collect. There's a lot of moving pieces. I mean, these things are so limited and so expensive. It just wasn't fun anymore. So I brought my entire Scott Pilgrim set to a local shop and they bought the entire thing for me with the exception of this 3-pack right here. And the reason I'm not going to get rid of this ever is because I have emotional attachment to it. I have a great memory of me and Danny celebrating one of our anniversaries when we first started dating. And we drove past FYE on our way home from spending the day together. And I was like, can we just pop in super quick and see if they have this in stock? Because it was just after San Diego Comic-Con 2016, which was our first ever Comic-Con collecting as well. And we stopped in, and sure enough, there it was sitting on the table behind the counter. We snatched it up and then we got dinner, and I brought it into the restaurant with us because I was so nervous that something was going to happen to it. So I have a great memory attached to this, and that is why it will be a permanent fixture in my collection. Fried Slowpoke Tail asks, who is a celebrity that you want in your videos? For a while now, I've been doing video essays here on the channel, and I've been having a lot of fun doing them, and it's even more fun when I get to involve other people in them. Most recently, Music by Snowden and Slapshot Pops joined me for my WonderCon video essay, but in terms of a Funko celebrity I'd love to see join in a video here on the channel, I'm going to go ahead with Mason at Wasatch Pop. He is one of my favorite YouTubers, and we've actually built a friendship through the community, which is nuts to me because I've been watching his videos since his channel first started. So Mason, if you're watching this and you want to show up in a video essay here on the channel, you know you know where my DMs are, baby. Slide in there and let me know how I can help. Speak of the devil, Wasatch Pop asks, what camera do you use for videos and what program do you use to edit? So I film all of my videos on an iPhone XR, which they are being filmed on currently. I have an iPhone 11 that I use sometimes as well, but a majority of the filming happens on the iPhone XR. That used to be my cell phone that I'm recording on right now, but I dropped it and totally demolished the screen, so much so that I had to go to one of the mall kiosks and get a replacement. But after a year of having that fake screen, it's starting to like come up on the side and dust is getting in there. The camera that faces towards you doesn't work at all anymore. So while I have my iPhone 11 here to, text and call and all that kind of stuff on, I still have my old phone that I used to record all the videos on. In terms of an editing program, I just use iMovie for all of my recording. I don't have anything fancy. I only have a MacBook Air, which really can't contain anything too crazy, but I've had no problems with iMovie. I've had to get really creative at times in terms of doing editing that may be easier with other programs, but I've been using iMovie since high school when I was a teacher's assistant for video productions classes. So for me, iMovie's always been second nature, and if it's not broke, why fix it? The Weez Gaming asks, what's one pop you want to be released? This is a tough question. I want to say I'd love to see Blossom from Pokemon because Blossom's my favorite Pokemon, but I don't know that I need a pop of it, although it would be really cool to see. But if I had to pick one pop in particular, like that may be realistic, it's probably got to be Ben 10 pops. Ben 10 was one of my favorite shows growing up. So to see Ben 10 and all the accompanying aliens as pops, it would just be trouble for me. Krudik asked me, what got you into Funko Pop collecting? That's a great question, Krudik. I've been in the community now for 5 years. I started collecting in January or February of 2016. So San Diego 2016 was my first ever convention, like I just talked about with Sex Bomb 3-pack. Danny and I were out at GameStop and we saw Lilo and Stitch and Rick Grimes and Morgan from The Walking Dead, which at the time was my favorite show, and Lilo and Stitch is still Danny's favorite movie. And we were like, do we try it? They're cool. Let's get a couple of them. And as you can see, it's not a couple anymore. So before Pops, I actually collected Amiibo. I still have a complete Super Smash Bros. Amiibo collection. I pick them up from time to time when they're on sale. I don't like go to the launches anymore like I used to, but when Amiibo were super popular, I was at Toys R Us at 5 a.m. I was running through Best Buy in my boots in the middle of March with a snowstorm because I wanted the one Meta Knight Amiibo that they had in stock, which I got, by the way. So I always love collecting things. I like accruing a collection. I like being able to kind of display things nicely on a shelf. And Pops kind of really broke me out of that Amiibo habit because they have Pops for everything, which is great. You know, name another collectible where you can have Aang on an air scooter and Mewtwo and Shaggy and Velma from Scooby-Doo. There's not a lot of collectibles that offer that much range. So for me, I think that was a big draw to Funko in particular. But in terms of collecting, I've always collected things. When I was a kid, I used to collect Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pez heads, Beanie Babies, for example, as well. Collecting has always just been a thing that I've done, and Pops just kind of have become something that I have shared with the world. Bori Pop Collector asks, how are you so awesome? Bori, maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline, baby. DJ DeSisto asks me a question that I cannot show you without strikes on my channel, probably. But the answer is no. Never. In tandem with that last question, Paparazzi asks me, what specific thing about Funko got you interested into collecting? Like I said, I've always collected things, but I guess to dive more into that a little bit more, Funko is a collectible that is affordable. You know, there's other collectibles out there where you spend $60 to $100 and even more on like Hot Toys and stuff like that. Pops are a super affordable collectible for people who like to collect, and a lot of them retain value, so they're a good investment for those who want to. I mean, as I've already talked about, I just sold my entire Scott Pilgrim set, which I've never paid more than retail for a single Pop in that set. So, I mean, while I am sad to see them go, the investment on that line was nuts. So Golden Collectibles asks, how much did you spend on a single Funko Pop? I assume that means the most I've ever spent on a single Funko Pop. And I don't spend a lot on single Funko Pops. I always am, whenever there's something that I want to get my hands on, like right now I'm trying to get Bubbles and Buttercup from the Powerpuff Girls. I have them saved on Mercari, and then, you know, maybe twice or 3 times a day when I have a second, I go on Mercari, sort by new, and see if there's any deals. It's really the best way to do it. But in terms of the most I've ever spent on a Pop, it's probably going to be the San Diego Comic-Con official sticker Mewtwo, which was shared with the Funko Shop last year. My entire Pokemon collection has con stickers because I've just gotten lucky. However, there were a few times where I haven't gotten lucky, and that Mewtwo is one of those times. So I actually ordered 2 Mewtwo, which is 30 bucks, and then I got shared stickers for each of them. So I went ahead and I sold both of those Mewtwo on eBay for, I want to say, about $30 each. So I doubled my money on that. And then I bought the con sticker Mewtwo for, I want to say, $80 altogether. So if you, obviously I only spent $30 on those 2, so I spent about $50 on Mewtwo, even though some of it was profit. I know a lot of people out there spend a lot of money on Pops to get the ones that they want. I've been fortunate enough where I've been able to get a lot of good deals on things, but I know that I have a cap that I'll never go over. And even if I want something really, really bad, like the Parks and Rec Johnny Karate, I will never justify spending $2,000 on a Pop. It's just not practical for me, and it's not something that I justify spending that much money on. And speaking of Parks and Rec, G-Boat's Pop Vinyl asks me, what is my favorite season of Parks and Rec? Personally, for me, I think Parks and Rec is great from the beginning to the end. This is a tough question. I think my favorite season of Parks and Rec is probably when Leslie is running for city council, because you have Catherine Hand come in as Jen Barkley, you have Paul Rudd come in as Leslie Knope's opposition as Bobby Newport. So, I mean, there's just a lot of great characters in that season, and it has some of the greatest moments, like Chris Traeger on the bike going, I need to do it, I want to do it, I love to do it. You have the Leslie Knope bus where they drive it through the funeral for Bobby Newport's father. You also have the when Leslie is picking her campaign manager earlier in that season on the ice rink, get on your feet. It's such a good season. So many moments that I really love. So I guess season 4 is my favorite season, but I love every season of Parks and Rec, let's be honest. Jet Funko asks me, what limited piece do you want the most? And that goes in tandem with the last 2 questions. Johnny Karate from Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec is my favorite TV show of all time, and I have the entire set, including the 500-piece Mouse Rat Andy, but I don't have the 48-piece Johnny Karate, or 43-piece, I don't even know anymore. I know that there's not a lot of them. The last one that sold on eBay, the highest bid was like $1,800, and it didn't even hit the reserve at that point. So I don't know what the seller was asking for, but it's just ridiculous. I know that I'll never own it. I do plan on doing a custom one day if I can find a replacement sticker for the Fugitive Toys with the 500 pieces on it. But overall, Johnny Karate is not in my budget. I can never justify spending that much money on it, but if money wasn't an option, Johnny Karate. On Jolly Ready 54 asks me, do I actually read the Marvel comics or am I just an MCU fanboy? I do love the MCU movies. They're a lot of fun to just kind of suspend disbelief and just enjoy watching. But I don't read the comics. Just put that out there. I don't sit down after work and be like, okay, cool, let's read a bunch of comics. But I do frequent message boards and forums and stuff that keep people updated with spoilers and things like that. This way I'm in the loop on things. I'm not familiar with every single Marvel comic run. I'll be honest about that. I do love the MCU, but I do know a lot about the comics and I do love the content. I just don't have the time to read them. And that brings this Q&A session to an end. Thank you so much to everybody who asked a question. This was a lot of fun. I love sharing with you guys and letting you get to know me a little bit more. Is there something else you want to know about me? Ask a question down below and I'll answer it in the comments, or maybe I won't and I'll hold it off for another Q&A video in the future. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, please consider it. It helps the channel grow and it helps me make more content for you all watching at home. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to collect what you love, even when what you love is a 43-piece count Johnny Karate Pop that's worth over $3,000 that I know that I will literally never own. And as always, guys, I'll see you soon.